Hi, and welcome to the Spirit of the Valley. It's our monthly meeting with Larry. As you know, Larry is the fitness director at CCBA, and we do a monthly show involving some aspect of fitness. It could be anything from food to exercise to sleep to you name it. But today, particularly, we've been talking on something we wanted to talk about. By the way, hi, welcome.
Hello, welcome. Thank you.
I've only
It's good
seen
to be
you
here.
twice today. We get so many. We did a show last time on myths about fitness, of which there are hundreds of thousands. But one of them that you continually hear people perpetuating is the cardio as the way to lose weight.
Correct. Yes.
And only cardio.
Right.
If they run every day, and I'm sure there are exceptions to every one of our rules, but you were going to do some discussion, some describing of what has to happen to lose that weight that is more than cardio.
Very true. I mean, one of the things that we really want people to understand is that there's only one true way to lose weight, and that's to burn more calories than you take in. So when we get to the process of trying to burn calories and losing fat, everybody initially assumes cardio is the way to go. I got to get on a bike, I got to go running, jogging, whatever it might be, get on a rowing machine, go to the gym and get on a treadmill. Yep. So we start thinking of the cardio aspect as the only way to lose weight. And I think there's some interesting information out there that everybody might not be aware of. And one of the things we want to do today with the help of our board here is just to put it out and let people see the numbers for themselves and just throw the information out. The first one being to understand what we're going to do when we want to lose weight is the number of calories in a pound of fat. And that is 3,500. It seems like a lot. That's a lot of calories, but there are easier ways to get ourselves down so that we can burn those calories. The first thing we talked about was the cardio. If I run, walk, jog a mile, I burn approximately 120 calories per mile. So that's not a lot.
It's a lot of running needed at that rate.
We can start with something close to a marathon. If we want to burn 1 pound of fat, that's how many miles you have to run. So that it makes it a lot. It's tough. Granted, if you run a 6-minute mile, you're going to burn more calories than you do if you run a 10-minute mile or if you walk a mile. Mm-hmm. The biggest difference is if I can run a mile in 10 minutes and you can run it in 8, if we go out for 30 minutes, you're going to get more miles in. Yep. That's where you get more calories that way as well. But so this is a lot. This means you've really got to get out there and do a lot of
it's 7 days of 500 calories to burn the pound.
Right, just 1 pound.
That seems arduous. It seems impossible to believe, but it is a fact.
It is. And
so that 150 calories you just got on the elliptical and did, not really going to help a lot.
It doesn't seem like it does.
And unless you do that for a lot of time on a lot of days.
Right.
So keep going. This is part of what I think you people, and I say you people because I'm one of you people, have always thought until I got more involved in fitness, that it was more a question of getting out and brisk walk or on a regular basis, and there's so much more you can do.
There is. And so what we like to get into is resistance training. And the numbers there can be quite staggering, and I don't think a lot of people may not be aware of it. But when we start doing resistance training, we're going to work our muscles.
Yeah.
Now, an untrained muscle, one that you haven't been using, which if you're doing a lot of running and cardio, you probably don't use your upper body.
Exactly.
Burns 5 calories per pound per day. All right, that's to basically maintain itself. But then again, we also say, we've said before, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Exactly.
This number will be going down.
Yes.
Your total. So that becomes a minor issue.
Yep.
So now what we want to talk about is we're going to take this off, make it a trained muscle, and I'm going to burn 7.5 calories per pound per day. Now that doesn't sound like much, and as we showed before, it was with 5 calories,
Right.
it's only a 2.5
Right.
pound difference. But it's per pound.
Yep. And it's
That adds up.
the muscle is what you're getting at. And
Right. And if I'm training it, this number's going to go up. So we say it's only a difference of 200 calories or 2.5 calories per pound. But that's per pound. If I have 40 pounds of lean body mass on my frame, that becomes 100 calories per day just to maintain itself. That doesn't count the exercising that you've done, the workouts that you might be doing. It doesn't count that. So now that's per day. 30 days in a month, I'm now at 3,000 calories just maintaining itself.
wow.
Pretty close to the 3,500 that we had up there before.
For the 1 pound.
Right.
But it's a whole different feeling too. I mean, I know when I've done a lot of strength training, you don't feel that part right away. The feeling you get when you go out and run and you say, oh boy, I just did a wonderful thing.
Right.
You have to be doing a fair amount of training to get to a point where the resistance is really effective.
Yeah, I mean, you may feel it right away. I think you're going to feel it because there are some programs and exercise classes that you do where you're exhausted by the time it's done, and you really feel it. And at times, I also think you get a cardio element to a resistance training program, such as the TRX or spinning, which there's cardio, but you're using your lower body a lot. Some of the other group fitness classes that may use weights. Your resistance bands. That's resistance training. So that gives you a cumulative effect. So now you take your cardiovascular and you add it to this becomes a lot. Now this is, when we say the 3,000 calories, that's extra. All right, that's extra from a trained muscle to an untrained muscle. So that's in addition. I mean, if you look at 7.5 calories a day and you've got 40 pounds, we're talking a lot more than just 3,000 calories a day. But that's the difference between doing resistance training and not doing resistance training that you're going to get.
And people forget too, and I think this is another myth, that resistance training doesn't involve cardio and cardio doesn't involve resistance. Cardio doesn't basically involve resistance, but the reverse is true. You do get a lot of cardio because when you're lifting TRX classes, anything else that's free body weight, your heart rate is booming.
It is. It's very close to a form of interval training.
Yes,
where you're up,
I was just going to say.
The heart rate's up and down.
As soon as you finish one piece of something and you're just going, oh, then you do what you do in a cardio class and you bring it down. You chill a little. So it's but I think people forget that the combination is so terrific. I'm living proof, having done just lifting really for a while, and I lost my aerobic capacity. I realized when I went to and switched places and went to my first aerobics class, I was totally out of breath really early in the class, and I thought, and that made sense because I hadn't been doing anything terribly cardio to match some of the strength. So I think the combination is what matters. I think it makes you feel better. You feel like you're working every bit of you every time you go in there, and I think if you can add, fine, but you don't have to, because you can usually get out of one of those sessions both upper body, lower body, and some heart rate work.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, one of the things that we had talked about before is how many days a week do you need to do this? I mean, if you really want to get into this, if you can do resistance training twice a week, it works out really well. On those other days, I may put in the cardio component of a treadmill or an elliptical, or I'll go outside for a run or a bike, and that becomes an additional amount of calories. Because one of the things that we can illustrate here that we have talked about before, and I've always wanted to have a board to kind of show, and I think this is perfect that we can do this. When we do resistance training, I'm going to have a line right here. So this is just say Monday, and then Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I'll go to Thursday. Right to there. All right. So when I go into the gym, and these numbers over here, this is 110%, this is 100%, 90%, 80%, 70%. This means when I'm in the gym, I go in the gym on Monday and I'm working out, I'm at 100% of whatever I'm at. My body is 100%. I'm ready to work out, and
Exactly.
I'm ready to get after it.
Exactly.
Now, remembering what we've talked about before, every time I do resistance training, the body releases 2 enzymes, one that tears it down, one that builds it back up.
Yep.
That process takes 48 hours. So if I came into the gym and wanted to work the same area that I did on Monday, I'm going to be about 70 to 75% of where I was Monday. So we do the every other day principle, right? Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Well, when I come in the gym on Wednesday, I'm about 90% of where I was Monday. If I wait one more day, that Thursday, now I come in, I'm 110% of where I was on Monday.
The benefits and everything else, the recovery, all have happened, and yet you know how hard it is. You know how all of us that come in more than that to sometimes, and I'm confessing, because we like to a regular feeling of moving somehow, but it's never the same thing. It's never, you know, I cheat on you there.
That's fine.
I do the classes between, but I do it because I'm an itchy person and I can't sit still often.
You want to do something. Well, that's what I say. So here's resistance training. Now, if I went Monday, Wednesday, Friday, this line's going to end up going down this way, which gives me the diminishing results that we've talked about before. Now, if I come in here, and there's my other resistance day, this line is going up, which is what I want. So I'm getting better results. So now we look at this and say, well, I'm only doing resistance training twice a week. Working out twice a week isn't enough. Fine. On a Tuesday or a Wednesday, Friday, you add the cardio. You get a few more calories, 100 calories burned because you do 5 or 6 miles or whatever it may be, or even 3 miles. Now you add that combination, and all of a sudden, wow, I'm really starting to see some results.
Because the balance is key. I really believe it. I think it's key mentally. I think it's key physically to do more than one phase of a training situation.
Absolutely.
And I see people that do all of it. I see people that go on a treadmill every day, and that's fine. And that's fine. But I think, I know I can certainly tell the difference in my week if I've done a little of everything.
Well, I think the variety keeps the mind going, and it keeps you more interested in what you're doing as well.
It's like kind of your mind getting bored when you read the same book every week. Your body needs variety too, and your body is gonna stay put at a certain plateau if it doesn't get a tweak every now and then. Same with your eating. And I have learned this the hard way. I used to just be, okay, here's what I need to eat. I'll eat it every day, the same thing every day. And I finally realized my body is not budging. It is obviously bored with the food I'm putting in it. So it's just the same thing. Mind and body both get bored, both need variety, both need tweaking, and changes regularly. But you see people in any gym that figured it out and that are doing some real strength training and some cardio as well, because they'll follow one with the other. And that's really the way I think you end up feeling really good.
I totally agree. That's what you want. I mean, you like the variety, and we've talked about resistance training and combination with the cardio and how we can lose and what happens. I mean, a third part of the exercise program depends on when you exercise. There have been a lot of studies done on this too, because we have our basal metabolic rate, which is the rate at which we burn calories. Everybody's different.
Just your whole day of normal living.
Right. And so one of the other things that we've looked at is when I get up in the morning, all right, when I get up in the morning, and here's my line, this is my timeline, all right, and this is going to be 6 a.m., and then we've got noon, we've got 6 p.m., we've got 9 p.m. When I get up, well, my metabolic rate goes right there. Now, in the evening, obviously, because I'm going to say it shoots right up. Here, I'm still in bed there, and it shoots right up. In the evening, it comes down to about here, because we're getting ready to go to bed. And it's going to stay out here this far and go this way, and then it's going to come in here on this side, and that's when it goes up when we get up. And I'm saying 6 a.m. for when you get up. So now, most people, we have a lot of people that like to work out at 5:30 in the morning or early in the morning, noontime work and whatnot. The way we can change this, because the way our cycle goes is we go across here, about 6 p.m., we start to come down, and we meet here about 9, so we're getting ready to go, because we're getting ready to go to bed. Right. So all day long I have this. If I work out at noon, it doesn't change. If I eat, it doesn't change. If I work out at 6 a.m., it doesn't change. But if I do something at 6 p.m. right here, at this special time, 5:30, 6, 6:30, maybe even 7, I will boost my metabolism a little bit longer. It'll still come down, and I'm still going to get to sleep.
That's interesting.
And you get all this extra
Yeah.
of a high rate of calorie burn. But the other thing that's happened too, one of the other benefits that we've talked about exercise, is I've gone out, I've just reduced a lot of stress. Now I feel a lot better. I'm probably going to sleep
At the end of the day.
a lot better.
And that's when a lot of those good things are happening.
Yes.
You know, you're recovering, and you're burning still, so that, but you do it, yeah, and it's hard for a lot of people, as you know. Evening, I'm done, I'm toast.
Right.
But if you can do it in the evening, I think this extra little window here is amazing.
It is.
And that there are plenty of people that have no choice. The after-work crowd is usually a rush hour in most gyms.
It's very busy.
And the before work, and then so.
True.
But you, I hadn't thought about doing it that way, but I probably
Yeah.
won't anytime soon either. But I like it.
I mean, it helps. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be a huge ordeal that you do. You
Exactly.
can, as simple as a 20-minute walk.
Exactly.
Say you've worked out somewhere here during the course of the day, and at 6 p.m. I want to go for a walk. Great. You're going to get the same benefit. I'm going to boost my metabolism a little bit longer,
Yep.
and I'm going to get all this extra burn in here that I wouldn't if I had just done the stuff during the day. So a 20-minute
Just
walk
a
is
little-
going to help you.
With a little frosting on the cake.
It's a little extra, yeah.
But it's also frustrating because daylight savings cuts into that kind of thing big time.
Yeah,
I
it
would
does.
love to go walking every evening, and I do a lot when it's light. But boy, I wouldn't touch it now. That's
Right.
the problem. But
Yeah,
but people
very
forget
much so.
that they can come back with a little extra bonus at the other end of the day, and it'll only help. I think people, and I'm typical of a lot of people that just are kind of done. They're, you know, I do everything early in the day, and you have trouble getting me out of the house at night. But yeah, but I would do it if it were. I have my own equipment at home too.
Right.
Sometimes I had a little of that.
You can do that.
But that's a good piece for people to remember, that you can even boost it a little by.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be just one time in the day. You can add a little bonus at the end, and not the same vigorous thing you probably did at 6 a.m. But
Yeah, that's why I said it could just. I mean, it could be
It's just-
a quick
it's
20-minute
just
walk.
adding
Yeah.
a little gravy on. Yeah, I like
Even
that.
if you
I
walk
keep
1
using
mile
food
in 20
terms
minutes.
Here. This isn't smart. Icing on the cake, gravy. No, I don't mean that. No.
Well, we just had Thanksgiving.
We
so
just
we're-
there are enough little idioms in our language that those things come out. Yeah, and speaking of that, it was a very busy place today.
Yes, it was.
I probably Friday had lots of post-turkey exercisers, but today
You
was.
did.
I was in a class today that she thinks she set a record, and I think it was almost 30.
It was
And
good
she
to
was
see.
booming.
The class was full.
And no one was talking about it as, I mean, it isn't necessarily that everyone pigged out. It was just
Right.
that they'd been with family, they'd been out of, a lot of people were complaining that they just had 3 days of no exercise and they felt horrible.
Right.
Because when you get in that mode, you feel it when you miss it. And I was away and even went into the gym with my daughter because I just thought, at least there's one day I don't have to call myself a slug. And that's a negative term and that's harsh, but you get to feel that way when you're into this world of
Well, it becomes addicting.
Staying fit.
It really does become addicting. One of the other things that I want to kind of touch upon
Good.
too for people to understand, and here's something that really frightens a lot of people when they start exercising. And one of the things I've always asked people, and I speak to groups and whatnot, I'll ask them, what weighs more, a pound of muscle or a pound of fat? And right away, it's a pound of muscle. Pound of muscle weighs more. Well, in essence, they're actually the same. A pound of muscle and a pound of fat weigh the same. The difference is the cross section. This may be 1 pound of muscle. This would be 1 pound of fat. So you ask yourself, what do I want on my body more than, yeah, I certainly want this because it's going to be a lot different looking than
Absolutely.
that. But the other component that comes along with that is when we initially start to exercise, this goes up faster than this goes down. So initially, people will see an increase in weight
Yeah.
when they start resistance training, and they're, oh my God, I can't do this. I'm putting on weight. I'm gaining weight.
seen it.
I've put on 2 pounds. But when you stop and you take a look at what they've actually done, if you look at either measurements or how your clothes feel, or if you, even at the facility, if you get yourself tested, because we do it free of charge for people, is a % of body fat. And that will tell you more closely what has happened. And we find that the % of body fat goes down, but they've put on 2 pounds. All right, so the % of body fat goes down, I've put on 2 pounds, that means I've lost more than 2 to 3 pounds of fat and put on muscle.
You know what else that does? It tells you to get off your darn scale. Because that weight is so deceptive. The last thing you wanted was to see it go up.
Right.
And you're not logical at that moment that you see it go up on a scale, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm doing everything wrong. This is not what I was looking for. You're not stopping to think, wait a minute, I just increased my fat muscle mass. So you have to really know this going in, that you could well see a spike until you get into some other place.
I mean, I had one gentleman ask the question one time. He says, you know, I started resistance training and I put on 4 pounds. And I said, that's not what I want to do, so I stopped it right away. I said, well, what happened to your belt size? Well, I was down a notch. Okay, so that's what and that's the part we want to understand. Sometimes we get so caught up in the numbers that we've talked about that, God, I've put on 4 pounds. Well, I put on 4 pounds of lean body mass. Well, 4 pounds here may equal the size of 1 pound of fat.
Exactly.
But if I've put on this, I've probably lost this.
That's moving.
Yeah, so I've rearranged it. And if my belt loop is, I'm 1 notch tighter on my belt, thank you very much. You're doing the right thing.
And a lot of times,
doing the right thing.
A lot of times the strength conditioning shows itself first in inches anyway.
Yes.
I mean, right off the bat.
Right.
But people have to be educated to know that you are going to change. Your body is shifting all kinds of things. But that's the kind of shift. If you don't like pulling your belt in a notch, then you're not normal. There, I said
Not a bad thing.
But it's basic stuff. You just think, okay, I'm doing all this stuff. You're going to get on the scale that first week and see something immediately. Don't worry about that part of it. You know, I've been told not to use a scale, frankly, because I know when my clothes are tight. I know. I don't have to have it spelled out.
Right. You feel it. You can definitely feel it.
It isn't wrong to use it occasionally, but I think I just don't think there's another myth. I mean, there's another, no, actually it's a little bit of a deception. You get on a scale at 6 in the morning, you'll say one thing. Get on again at noon, it says another. Get on again at 9 the night before bed, it says another. And you don't know what to believe. You want to believe the best of them, but then you see something. So, you know, if you're going to weigh yourself, pick the same time every day.
Yes.
Wear the same thing every day. But the numbers really go against us. They really are where our self-judging come in, because that scale is kind of an enemy sometimes.
Well, and it can be, because I think one of the things that we've been so ingrained is the BMI index, or your body mass index.
Right.
And that at present is probably one of the most useless statistics that we can even go by, because the body mass index takes into account 2 things: your height and your weight. It doesn't take into account what that weight is made of. And as we illustrated earlier, you know, a pound of fat and a pound of muscle, they weigh the same.
Right.
They're going to look a lot different. They're going to look a lot different. So that's why you want to get credit for having a pound of muscle and not having a pound of fat, but the BMI scale does not give you that. So you want to really move yourself away from the scale and read what the weight says. You don't want that. Really judge by how your clothes feel. If they're tighter up here and looser down around the waist, then you're doing the right thing, and that's what you want to see. So that's why we really try and get away from those numbers if possible.
And I remember at a physical once when I mentioned something to my doctor about the fact that I seem to have a little extra, I call it gush, but you call it what you want. And she said, yeah, but I know what you do. I know what you do for lifestyle and diet. Why don't you just let me worry about your health? She was quite funny. She said, I get paid to worry about your health and the numbers that go with it. When I send an alarm to you, you'll know that I'm worried about you. For the moment, stop it.
You're fine.
Just stop it and keep living the life you're living. And she also added, this is another component that I've been told, so I'm going to share it. Your metabolism does slow down.
Yes.
When you get older. And I'm older than dirt, some people know.
Not that much.
No, not that much older than dirt.
Right.
Thanks, Larry.
No, I mean, you're not.
No, I'm not old because I don't feel old.
And again, see, that's another number.
That's a number.
It should be a state of mind, not a number.
It's a no. I had a significant birthday recently, and someone said, "Are you really? Do you hate that?" I said, "Hey, what? I feel half of that."
There you go.
So I just don't let that. But numbers are really detrimental in the health world. I think that too many of us, or too many of all of us, have lived by them, and they hurt you. They hurt.
They can.
I mean,
certain
they don't
ones.
hurt certain ones, like if you're doing body fat and it's going down. That's
Right.
a wonderful number. But the scale can hurt you if you
It can.
trust it too much.
I mean, one of the things that we've looked at before is just the BMI, and I'll say it from my standpoint. My BMI index based on my height and weight is 28.5. Now,
Which
if you're
makes you obese.
yeah, 30% or 30, a number of 30 or higher is obese. My percent of body fat, though, is at 18.
Teens, I was going to say.
So
That matters so much more.
This does, and it's because this takes into account of the resistance training
Yes.
and what I've done. This does not.
Right.
We have illustrated, you can have two people that are 6'1".
Yep.
One person has a 46-inch waist, one person has a 42-inch waist. One person has a 36-inch chest, the other one has a 44-inch chest. Very different people, but their BMI is the same, whereas this is what's going to be the telling
Exactly.
tale.
And I used
Yes.
to test trainers. They'd come in and say, "Can you do my body fat? Or can you do my BMI?" And every one of them came out obese. Now, how many personal trainers do you know that are obese? None.
Not many.
They would not be in that job, probably.
Correct.
So stick with just one, and the body fat is
Yeah,
the one.
That's the one you want to really concern about.
Someday, when I'm not too embarrassed, I'll get mine done with Larry, because he I trust him. I trust.
Yes.
Well, we're getting the signal that we're running out of
Yes.
time again. Maybe because we both like to talk so much.
Could be.
But I think hopefully this is helpful to you guys, because this there's always something in this world that we talk about that should be helpful to you. We do it for that reason, obviously. And if it helps you know how to plan a program, or other programs we've done, if it helps you know how to eat and when to eat, and that's another thing, a lot of myths about when to eat regarding training. That's why we want to do it for you. So if you have questions, Larry at joinccba.org, Larry Ruffing.
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 Yep.
We'll put it up on the screen. And mine, you've seen mine every time. But if you have any questions, we really, really want to help. This is what we do this for, is to not just sit here and enjoy each other's company, which we do, but
Right.
we're trying to educate. And just let us know. We will answer any question, and if we can't, we'll find someone who can. But he can answer everything. But if he can't, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Just let us know, whether
Yes.
you reach him or me or both. We really want to pursue this in every way possible that interests you. And I think most of the subjects we touch on is something that affects everyone that's watching.
Hopefully. Yes.
So just let us know. Any other topics of fitness you want us to touch on, we can do that. We don't seem to have too much trouble filling half an hour.
No, we don't.
Just please let us know, because we really want to hear from you. And once again, Mr. Ruffing, we've done it. It just flies.
It does fly.
We see our little numbers being shown to us, and I keep thinking it can't be. And you've always said that.
Well, I do, and we talk. We kind of joke at the facility that the fastest hour of the day is the TRX class, 35 seconds at a time.
Right.
I'm beginning to think this is a lot quicker.
This is the fastest half hour.
Fastest half hour.
We'll define them that way.
Yeah, very much
But it
so.
is, because we both are passionate about this
Yeah.
subject, and
Absolutely.
therefore it's not difficult to talk about it, and not difficult to find things to talk about. So
Very true. Very true.
thank you, my friend. That was
My
another
pleasure.
wonderful half hour. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So tune in. We'll be showing this as soon as we can, and I will make sure it always gets up on my Facebook, and I'll put it on the Vermont, New Hampshire Facebook page too, and Larry and Patty can do the same, and it'll spread worldwide.
We'll get it out
Before
there.
you know it, we'll have calls from England.
We'll get it out there.
Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you soon, because I'm not letting him go. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Have a good one.